Mosul for nearly 2 miles along the western bank of the Tigris River, hardly a single building is intact. The warren of narrow streets of Mosul's old city is a crumpled landscape of broken concrete and metal. Every acre is weighed down by more than 3,000 tons of rubble, much of it laced with explosives and unexploded ordnance. It will take years to haul away the wreckage, and this is just one corner of the destruction. The Iraqi military and US-led coalition succeeded in uprooting the Islamic State group across the country, but the cost of victory is nearly incalculable. 3 years of war devastated much of northern and western Iraq. Baghdad estimates $100 billion is needed nationwide to rebuild. Local leaders in Mosul, the biggest city held by IS, say that amount is needed to rehabilitate their city alone. So far no one is offering to foot the bill. The Trump administration has told the Iraqis it won't pay for a massive reconstruction drive. Iraq hopes Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries will step up, and Iran may also take a role. The UN is repairing some infrastructure in nearly 24 towns and cities around Iraq, but funding for it is a fraction of what will be needed. As a result, much of the rebuilding that has happened has come from individuals using personal savings to salvage homes and shops as best they can. Nearly every city or town in former IS territory needs repair to one degree or another. The longer it takes, the longer many of those who fled IS or the fighting remain uprooted. While 2.7 million Iraqis have returned to lands seized back from the militants, more than 3 million others cannot, and they languish in camps. Worst hit is Mosul. The UN estimates 40,000 homes there need to be rebuilt or restored, and some 600,000 residents have been unable to return to the city, once home to around 2 million people. Corruption and bitter sectarian divisions make things even harder. The areas with the worst destruction are largely Sunni, while the Baghdad government is Shiite-dominated. The fear is that if Sunni populations feel they've been abandoned and left to fend for themselves in shattered cities, the resentment will feed the next generation of militants. The responsibility to pay for reconstruction falls with the international community, said Abdulsatter al-Habu, the director of Mosul Municipality and Reconstruction Advisor to Nineveh Province, where the city is located. If Mosul is not rebuilt, he said, it will result in the rebirth of terrorism. From Hue to Mosul, Mosul's old city paid the price for the Islamic State group's last stand. Streets are now knee-deep in rubble from destroyed homes. The few high buildings of 6 or 7 stories have been blasted hollow, reduced to concrete frames. Shopping centers and office buildings are pancaked slabs. Almost all that is left of the 850-year-old Al-Nudi Mosque, blown up by IS fighters as they fled, is the stump of its famed minaret. At the southern end of the district, the arcades of stone-arched storefronts in the historic bazaars that once sold spices, cloth, and household goods are charred and gutted. Eaves that once shaded shoppers look like they were hurled into the air to land as mangled metal scattered across the cityscape.